You'd have to kill me to get this jacket off. What about the bar? Burn it down.
Welcome back to another Now Playing Recaps video. Today we're diving into The Bikeriders, a film that attempts to make the 1960s biker scene look cool, but ends up resembling a 2-hour commercial for leather jackets and bad decisions. Strap in, because this ride is about as smooth as sandpaper on your nutsack. So, what's this flick about? Well, we've got a bunch of motorcycle enthusiasts who think they're the next Hell's Angels, but end up looking like a group of midlife crisis dads trying to relive their glory days. Our main trio consists of Johnny Prettyboy, Austin Butler, the leader of the gang who has the charisma of a wet towel, Kathy the love interest, Jodie Comer, whose main job is to look concerned and get saved, and Mad Dog Tom Hardy, who plays the role of the obligatory muscle-bound idiot with a heart of gold or maybe rust. Who knows? The plot? Oh, you mean the thin excuse to show a bunch of guys riding bikes and acting tough. It's a love letter to the 60s biker culture, filled with predictable bar fights, dramatic speeches about freedom, and enough leather to outfit a BDSM convention. Johnny Prettyboy dreams of leading his biker gang to greatness, but surprise, surprise, things don't go as planned. Cue betrayal, violence, and a climax that's as anticlimactic as a teenager's first time. Let's talk characters. Johnny Prettyboy looks like he stepped out of a Calvin Klein ad and struggles with the concept of acting beyond smoldering looks. Kathy, the love interest, is basically there to give Johnny something to brood about. Her role is so shallow, she might as well have been replaced by a cardboard cutout with "insert emotional support" written on it. Mad Dog Tom, on the other hand, tries to bring some depth with his gruff exterior and sad backstory, but it's hard to take him seriously when every other scene he's either punching someone or looking constipated. Oh, and the pretentious themes. The film tries to wax poetic about the open road and brotherhood, but it's about as deep as a kiddie pool. Every time a character starts a monologue about the biker lifestyle, you can practically hear the eye rolls from the audience. It's like they're trying to convince themselves that riding a bike makes them modern-day philosophers. Newsflash, it doesn't. But hey, at least the music is good, right?
With rebels.
Sure, if you consider a bunch of overused rock anthems and generic background scores as good, it's like they raided a classic rock radio station and called it a day. If you close your eyes, you might think you're at a dad rock concert. And that's not a compliment. Speaking of characters, let's dive deeper into the motley crew of misfits that populate this film. We've got Johnny Prettyboy, who spends more time combing his hair than actually leading his gang. Seriously, if looking sullen and confused were an Olympic sport, he'd have more gold medals than Michael Phelps. His grand plan for the gang? To do biker stuff, I guess. It's never really clear because his speeches about freedom sound like they were written by a teenager who just discovered Bob Dylan. Then there's Kathy the love interest, who apparently exists to remind Johnny Prettyboy that he has a heart, or at least a vaguely heart-shaped void. Her character development is about as rich as a cup of instant noodles. She's either crying, looking worried, or being the damsel in distress. I've seen more complex characters in Saturday morning cartoons, and let's not forget Mad Dog Tom, the brawn of the outfit. His approach to problem solving is simple. Punch first, grunt later. He's supposed to be the emotional core of the gang, with a tragic backstory and all. But it's hard to empathize with someone who seems perpetually constipated. He's the kind of guy who thinks deep thought is staring at the horizon while clutching a beer. Now, for the plot holes and inconsistencies. Remember that scene where Johnny Prettyboy makes a big deal about not trusting outsiders? Yeah, that goes out the window faster than you can say contrived plot twist when a random new member shows up and is immediately welcomed with open arms. And how about the climactic showdown? It's supposed to be this big emotional moment, but instead, it feels like watching a bunch of toddlers fight over a toy. The stakes are lower than a limbo contest at a retirement home. The philosophical elements in this film are laughably shallow. The bikers wax poetic about freedom and brotherhood, but their actions scream midlife crisis on wheels. Every time they try to get deep, it feels like a high school philosophy club gone wrong. They talk about living free and dying hard, but really, they're just a bunch of dudes avoiding responsibility while trying to look cool. And the music. If you're a fan of the most overplayed rock anthems in history, you're in for a treat. It's like they raided the playlist of a middle-aged dad who thinks he's still cool. Born to be Wild? Check. Bad to the Bone? Check. It's so cliché it hurts. By the end of the movie, I was ready to swear off classic rock forever. Oh, and let's not forget the dialogue. It's filled with gems like, "We're the kings of the open road, and nobody tells me what to do." Wow, groundbreaking stuff, right? It's like the writers had a checklist of biker movie clichés and made sure to tick every single one. If you've ever wondered what it's like to watch a movie written by a random quote generator, this is your chance. Alright, let's dig into some more of the characters and their absolutely thrilling development arcs. There's Big Bob, who might as well be called Big Dumb, because his sole contribution to the plot is being the muscle with no brain. Then we have Slick Rick, whose name alone tells you everything you need to know about his personality. He's greasy, slimy, and about as trustworthy as a used car salesman on commission. The interactions between the gang members are priceless. Picture a bunch of man-children trying to play at being tough, throwing around phrases like "live free or die" with a straight face. It's like watching a kindergarten production of Sons of Anarchy. And the rival gang, they're even worse, a collection of stereotypical bad guys who look like they stepped out of a 90s video game. They sneer, they leer, and they apparently took the same acting classes as the main cast, which is to say none at all. And what about the female characters, you ask? Oh, they're there all right. In the background, looking pretty and occasionally delivering lines that make you wonder if the script was written in the 1950s. Kathy, the love interest, is the queen of this sad little hive, constantly needing to be saved or comforted by Johnny Prettyboy. Her big moment of agency is, wait for it, deciding to stay with Johnny even though he's clearly a disaster. Inspirational, isn't it? Let's not overlook the costumes and set design either. If you've ever been to a Halloween store the day after Halloween, you'll have a pretty good idea of the quality we're dealing with here. The leather jackets look like they were bought in bulk from a discount store, and the bikes, the supposed stars of the show, are generic and unremarkable. There's no sense of time or place. It's just a mishmash of biker tropes thrown together with no regard for authenticity or style. Alright, bottom line folks. The Bikeriders is a pretentious mess that tries to glamorize a subculture, but ends up as a cliché-ridden, poorly acted snooze fest. If you're looking for a movie with depth, engaging characters, or even a coherent plot, steer clear. But if you enjoy laughing at bad dialogue and wondering what the hell the filmmakers were thinking, give it a watch. Just don't say I didn't warn you. Remember to like, subscribe, and let us know in the comments if you actually enjoyed this dumpster fire. Until next time, keep your engines running and your expectations low. Cheers.